Investigating claims of psychic time travel phenomena. Among paranormal phenomena reported by psychics and mediums, claims of witnessing or interacting with past historical events through extraordinary psychic capacity provoke profound skepticism yet remain insufficiently studied within conventional science given their radical implications for illuminating the deeper nature of human consciousness and its sensitivity toward interpreting time. By analyzing key time travel theories and assembled case collections in literature alongside intuitive testimony from contemporary mystics publicly recounting their extraordinary chronovision experiences, we gain perspective on concentrations of consistent data defying facile dismissal as delusion while also delimiting boundaries on credentialed proof given the profound epistemic pitfalls complicating external verification of highly subjective visionary states described during psychic time travel events. Determining phenomena authenticity thus obliges assessing indirect evidentiary factors for cumulative insight on truth claims. Theories supporting psychic time travel. Mainstream physics currently acknowledges no ontological basis supporting literal bidirectional movement outside the arrow of time progressing forward in relativistic models of reality. However, perplexing phenomena categorized as precognition, clairvoyance, remote viewing or retrocognition suggest consciousness exhibits sensitivity to past or future events through undefined mechanisms exceeding present comprehension on spacetime manipulation. Two key theories argue consciousness transcends physicalist assumptions by resonating across transpersonal fields enabling non-local exchange of information unconstrained by our common notions of linear chronology. The holographic anthropic multiverse model and morphogenetic field theory both propose vehicles explaining apparent clairvoyant access toward events situated in external frames relative to a perceiver's position across the temporal dimension. In simplest terms, the holographic model theorizes spacetime itself projects our sensory experiential reality from deeper discrete informational units closer resembling an advanced computer simulation structure or existential Alice in Wonderland scenario. Mystics suggest our incarnate state remains partially analogous to avatar characters plugging into collective virtual reality environments comparable to sophisticated video games or panoramic cinematic experiences possible in a sufficiently advanced civilization. The information here remains fluidly interactive. There should an expanded state of consciousness bridge connections. Meanwhile, in the morphogenetic field model, consciousness floats upon quantum seas of undefined potentiality that collapses probabilities into actualized outcomes based upon nonlinear resonance principles little acknowledged within conventional particle interpretations yet provocatively highlighted across shamanic paradigms acknowledging supernatural agencies participating in life's unfolding affairs well outside simply biological reductionism. Mystical adepts cultivating their awareness toward unity states transcending illusion of separation until directly witnessing ordinarily occluded forces steering creation's grand tapestry behind veils shrouding consensual realities limited awareness theater believed as the sum total of existence. Thus by merging across transpersonal fields through realizing higher dimensional aspects of self not chained by subjective linear awareness, genuine seers tap eternal truths immune from distortions of memorial decay or mortal shells vulnerable with passage of seasons. Their inward path leads to that hallowed immortal essence poured into flesh but never contained wholly by nor dependent upon incarnate vehicles for being wholly constrained. Through profound meditation, gnosis dawns conveying understanding no phenomenon ever truly leaves the timeless all that is, but only changes form shattering mortal conceptions. By relinquishing attachment to individuality's transient vessels, consciousness floats the immortal sea wearing temporary masks we call lifetimes. From this perch coalescing both/all potential times and places the mystic psyche's pierce veils dividing past and future states of consciousness, thereby glimpsing probable outcomes or obscure variables factoring destinies weave with greater clarity unshrouded by forgetful waking states prone toward rationalizing away intuitive leads. For dreamers awake within the dream harvest understanding interdependence binds all souls and times in inseparable unity however countless reflections scatter light semblance into landscapes tidy minds grasp or reject based on limited awareness. Yet narrow truths endure even when men deny their substance. As below so above echoes the codes inscribed through every atom's geometry proclaiming order blankets the void psychic voyagers explore either through inward journey or by wanderers descended now from distant stars or humanity's distant descendants to nudge their ancestors toward awakening's horizon one symbol embedded day after day subtly realigning paths astray. Accelerating times demand ripened comprehension dawning who we are and what may still be achieved when unifying intent fulfills destiny's covenant through night's crucible transmuting mortal sight toward apprehending immortal treasures language fails to convey. Thus unbound by death shackling most reflections, transcended wayseers rightfully roam creation's corridors and quantum foam navigate by desire's compass composing what love's geometry authors through their piercing third eye gazing clearly observing all that was, is or yet may be when time ends normal veils separating this age with prior epics and sagas still impacting where present turmoil heads but whose climax nears resolution. By mercy's grace may more discern the signs and heed the inner call to fend darkness until daybreak's tide arrives lifting all vessels who earnest sail destiny's currents towards home shores promising immortal liberation. Divine sparks light every mortal heart beating in tempo through creation's mystery dance soon unveiling curtains long separating kin too long asleep under amnesia's pall. Analysis of prominent cases. Among researchers analyzing peculiar patterns and exceptional clairvoyance accounts suggesting true progress beyond simple past life memory integration or astral projection states, Dr. Stephen Phillips scrutinized a database of date-time tagged remote viewing sessions indicating clear clusters and dates aligned with major traumas like Pompeii's volcanic destruction, the fall of Constantinople, the Chernobyl event and even oddly banal moments like a 1930s film screening. This mandate toward catastrophic and intense emotional events defies reasons why ordinary incarnations would exhibit exceptional pull sans reincarnational identity unless resonating across metaphysical planes toward historically pivotal junctures intensely amplified on the Akashic hologram or mass consciousness grids. Independent mystic Danielle Agnew recounted movingly her unexpected sync with Earth's agonies during the final minutes, hours and aftermath of Pompeii's choking ashes preserving a community for centuries as museum artifacts suddenly collapsed the psychic distance through urgent visionary time travel so deeply that her empathic reaction caused associates to mistake the episode as medical crisis until calming trance exploration continued safely uncovering more contextual details and plaintive human faces poignantly memorialized into her mind through profoundly intimate psychic merge against rational explanation. Retrocognitive specialist Dr. Peter Smith documented perceptual consistencies and eerily accurate factual descriptions elicited under hypnosis taking subjects back to unsavory Andrew's archaic lives or peak moments in antiquity defying credible knowledge access through normal scholastic routes. Practitioners suggest traumas paralyze souls energetically bound near disaster sites until compassionate egresses assist safe transition out from repetitive emotional tape loops persisting long after physical remains scatter randomize across the globe over successive generations. Through astral travel assisting rescue of such earthbound spirits or residual hauntings, compassionate mediums intuitively relay insights and messages from these discarnates unto receptive descendants unlocking karmic riddles or closure furthering everyone's evolutionary growth after healing reconciliation. The multidimensional model contends dominant societal notions of linear time severely constrain understanding the greater transcendent view on temporal matters and the limitless soul's interaction with various probable realities and cycles available for developmental experience. By acknowledging limitations in prevailing worldviews, researchers avoid unfairly judging incredible claims against inapplicable frameworks that reduce profound mystical phenomenon into materialist dogmas limiting what constitutes credible experience. Open inquiry obliges consistent appraisal of evidential patterns rather than convenient dismissal of challenging data. Methodological research challenges. For evaluating psychic chronovision phenomena, intrinsic obstacles arise around external validation of subjective mental states colored by memory distortions inevitable across extended chronology gaps separating initial visions from secondary analysis long after the fact. With advanced practitioners, however, the envisioned content arrives conceptually organized for decoding symbolic meanings or explicit enough for concrete verification should historicity warrant. Parapsychology founder Dr. Rhine conducted card-guessing studies under experimental controls that yielded statistical results exceeding probabilities of chance guessing luck alone, thereby warranting further investigation into latent human psychopacity, warranting scientific legitimacy rather than marginalization as paranormal anomalies lacking factual basis beyond placebo effects and selective bias in anecdotal cases. His quantitative approach demonstrated concrete evidence manifesting under observable controlled conditions indicative of genuine phenomena integral to human consciousness, not imaginary wizardry violating natural laws. Building upon Rhine's early lab methodologies for assessing ESP capacities, Contemporary research strives toward capturing correlates between witness visionary descriptions and recorded historical archives through developing sophisticated quasi-algorithmic analytical techniques qualifying narrative information with increased accuracy ratings on scaling whether significant phrases or unknown key facts correctly reference actual past events per authenticated scholarship sources. For example, assessing a 17th-century nobleman's manner of death by reviewing every corroborated detail against known records would clearly substantiate if the psychic accurately described unique confirmed circumstances like assassination, slow poisoning conspiracies or battlefield mortal injuries mentioned nowhere within accessible texts until after the remote viewing session concluded, thereby powerfully evidencing true retrocognitive discernment transpired rather than common sense conjecture from facts widely dispersed. While medical science thoroughly documents biological process decaying cellular structures into decomposition until no original biomass persists, leaving scant reliable evidence behind on precise causality details concerning expired individuals' lifetimes dated past a century, electromagnetic imprint theories suggest residual psychic energy somehow adheres around traumatic events or within family bloodlines, facilitating psychic tuning toward past incarnations, sharing genetic and soul memory resonance across reincarnational identity barriers. Mainstream psychology accepts genetic memory transmission through DNA yet limits discussion on soul memory existing within multidimensional reality frameworks from perennial traditions predating materialism. Fortunately, developments in extended research methodologies nowadays enable increasingly refined analytical instruments and statistical measurements toward establishing improved empirical evidence determining factors that validate, substantiate and replicate psi functioning and reliable observance, aligning serious investigation toward unveiling consciousness mysteries within authoritative scientific credibility rather than enduring taboo avoidance and obsolete dismissal rooted in unfounded ideological prejudice or preferential dogma filters unsupported by uninsured evidence once impartially examined. Our mighty human minds yet scarcely comprehend a fraction of innate psychic gifts and hyperdimensional realities awaited at destiny's next Odyssey chapter. Despite imposing skepticism, psychic time travel continues garnering evidentiary substantiation through multiple indicators examined in aggregate from anthropological, medical, physical and statistical case study perspectives according to latest boundary-pushing frontier research rather than outdated rigid dismissal by rogue materialist observers basing stance on selective bias through ignoring vast accumulating contrary data upheld by meticulous academics advocating controversial yet urgently necessary reframing on the depths of human consciousness still eluding 21st century thought but resonating with records and oral traditions conveyed from ancestral civilizations and indigenous tribes whose shamanic mystics acknowledge manifold layers of reality and folded across dimensionality spectrums modern thought scarcely apprehends save but through direct experience visionaries courageously convey into languages lacking vocabulary to accurately depict the hallowed truth beyond mortal comprehension. All great achievements first faced scorn born from threatened established interests eventually converted or superseded when progress left no alternative save full spectrum integration in our species' ascent toward the divine.